Okay, we're back for another week on how to become an MVP. And this time I got a question from one of you people out there, and it was actually Matt Collines-Jones, and he asked this question. How much time should you spend in engaging in the community, doing community things, if you're on your journey to how to become an MVP? And that is a fantastic question, because balancing work and life is something that sometimes becomes very hard to do, especially if you're not in control of your time. What do I mean? An employer is in control of your time. In other words, you are working for somebody else, and what you do is for somebody else. But at the end of the day, your life is your life, right? You've got to choose how your life's going to work for you. And I feel that when it comes to work-life balance, each individual has to find out what that means for them. But here's some rule of thumbs, if you like, some ways that I have found works for me. First of all, community engagement should often be a byproduct of the work you're doing. It's the projects you're involved in. You are learning something new and you feel like, hey, the rest of the community needs to learn about this as well. So let's say it was AI Builder and you're learning about AI Builder. It's a great way that you can contribute and share your learnings with other people. You might create a video on it. You might do a how-to video on it, or you might write a blog post about it, right? So it's a byproduct of something else. Oftentimes it's not that it's about balancing time. Often it's about having a system in place that you can follow through on and create content consistently if that's your aim in the community. So first of all, I believe that if you plan well, you will be able to create work-life balance. A lot of people struggle with work-life balance because they don't plan. In other words, they don't plan their downtime. They don't plan their play. They don't plan their time outside the community. In other words, you all have lives. The community, this community that we operate in, is not the be-all and end-all to life. It's certainly not for me. I have a lot of friends and relationships that I have that have nothing to do with what I do, with Microsoft technologies. So he who fails to plan, plans to fail. That was a saying that my dad used to, talk to me about often. And it's not about, well, I like to be spontaneous. Hey, I'm a very spontaneous person. I do some crazy stuff, but it's kind of like I can be spontaneous because the rest of the time I'm very planned. I'm organized. I'm systematized. I systematize everything I do because otherwise I know I couldn't add value consistently. So it's a byproduct of other work, first and foremost. Think about what you're working on and then make this an output of that. Next, if you have a learn-it-all attitude, it will mean that you can also have a share-it-all attitude. Whatever you're learning, you can share. Even if somebody else has already done something in the area that you specialize in, nobody can communicate the exact way you communicate. And so therefore, there's always an opportunity for you to share in the way you learn, the way you understand it. And I guarantee there'll be somebody else out there that they might have seen something in a similar area that you're doing that didn't affect them at all, but the way you've communicated it actually impacts them. I was talking to Chris Huntingford the other day, and he was talking about his maths teacher. And one maths teacher just couldn't get math. He got a different teacher teaching the same subject, and all of a sudden the light bulb came on. It made sense. So we all learn in different ways, and different people's communication style impacts them differently. So you might have a communication style that absolutely helps and adds value to people. So what you have to say is valuable. Make it original, make it your own content, make it your own style, make it your own personality. It will add value, you can be sure. The next thing I do is I batch process. I don't just wake up one day and go, what am I going to do for the community day? I know generally 3 to 6 weeks in advance what I'm doing community-wise. I am planned, I then batch it. So I think of, okay, if I'm going to do a series of videos like this, I sit down, and in fact, I did it on a flight the other day and said, okay, what are my next 6 episodes going to be about? And then I mind map those out and I put what are the subtopics. But I do that in one batch and then I know, hey, I've got 6 videos ready to go and ready for me to record. Same with if it's blog posting. I plan my blogs generally 6, sometimes 8 weeks in advance. right? I start with topics. I then break it down and I take a topic and if you like, I drill into it and I go, okay, what is this topic going to be about? What am I learning and how would I structure this? And then I batch in when I write, and then I batch in creating the images for those posts. And then of course, batch scheduling, posting them ready to go. So that's, that type of creation and content. When I think of speaking events, I try to do one speaking event a month. So therefore, I don't have to respond and say, yes, I'll do every speaking gig. I do the ones that I have kind of set in my mind. I want to do 12 speaking gigs a year. I can plan those in, once again, almost like batching how I'm thinking about speaking. So the whole idea of batch processing, it creates leverage. It allows you to leverage your time and get a lot more focus time, and therefore the focus time produces greater results. When it comes to work-life balance, you've got to be thinking of your downtime and proactively scheduling that in. An unhealthy you helps nobody. And I'm talking about your mental health, your physical health, probably the two most important things that are going to drive you a long way in life. But if you're not systematically planning on how you maintain a healthy lifestyle in here, as well as the rest of it, something I need to work on, you're going to struggle. So I say plan your play. When do you have your downtime? When do you go and do the things with other people in your life that are outside the community? So you're not always on. So you're not always thinking about necessarily what value you're creating or what you're contributing. You should plan in your downtime. It's part of, when I come to work-life balance, what's work time, what's play time. Basically, it just comes to me planning it in. For me, it's not 9 to 5 or these blocks or chunks of time in the day. It's my whole life. What am I doing here? What am I doing there? How am I leveraging that time? And how am I making sure planned play is part of my life? So I realized a couple of months ago, I wasn't getting enough planned play. So guess what? I pick up PUBG. I get back into a new game, online game. Why? Because I can switch off my brain about all my work stuff and all the ideas I'm having, and I can just play and go shoot some people in the nicest possible way, right? And so, but I'm planning my play. I plan my away time with my wife so we can go and have, time when I'm not doing work stuff and just enjoying life. You might think you see me consistently producing stuff, but a lot of it is scheduled because I've planned it so that I can play freely when I need to. Anyhow, I hope that helps you, Matt, when it comes to work-life balance. If you have a question that you want me to answer, if you're on that journey to becoming an MVP, make sure you hit me up, contact me. LinkedIn Messenger is the best way to get hold of me. Otherwise, feel free to ask or comment below, subscribe, and let me know if you're finding these valuable. Ciao for now.